Rain hammered the windshield as I gripped the steering wheel with both hands. My phone rested on the passenger seat, still showing the message that had turned my blood cold. Claire has been injured. Come to Washington Memorial Hospital immediately. I whispered, please be okay. Every red light felt like an enemy. Every second stretched longer than the last. My wife had spent 7 years with the FBI. She rarely talked about work. Whenever I asked, she would smile, kiss my forehead, and say, the less you know, the safer you are. I believed her. I always believed her. By the time I reached the hospital, my shirt was soaked from running through the rain. A nurse looked up. Mr. Carter? Yes, Ethan Carter. My wife, Claire Morgan. She's awake. Relief hit me so hard my knees almost gave out. Can I see her? She nodded. I hurried down the hallway and stopped outside the room. Through the glass, I saw Claire sitting upright in bed with a bandage around her forehead. She looked tired, but alive. I smiled. Thank God. I pushed the door open. Claire. She turned toward me. Her expression stayed completely blank. I'm sorry, she said quietly. Who are you? The room suddenly felt too small. I forced a laugh. Very funny. She didn't smile. I don't know you. A doctor stepped beside her. Mr. Carter, I'm Dr. Emily Foster. I stared at Claire. Tell her you're joking. Claire frowned. I wish I could. Dr. Foster spoke gently. Your wife suffered a head injury. We believe she's experiencing selective retrograde amnesia. I looked from the doctor back to Claire. Claire, it's me. She shook her head. I'm sorry. For the first time since we'd met, she looked at me like I was a complete stranger. And that terrified me more than anything I'd ever experienced. Claire looked at me across the therapy room and offered a weak smile. I wish I could remember you, she said. I nodded. I know. My hand brushed hers as I helped her stand. A sharp whisper echoed inside my head. Keep acting. He's almost ready to leave. I froze. Claire blinked. Ethan? Sorry, I muttered. Just dizzy. The voice had sounded exactly like hers, but her lips hadn't moved. The therapist smiled. That's enough for today. Claire sighed dramatically. I'm trying so hard. Another silent thought struck me. They all believe me. I kept my face calm. I'll get your coat. Outside the hospital, Claire asked, Can we stop for coffee? Of course. While she ordered, I watched her phone light up with a single name. Ryan. She quickly turned the screen away. I'll be right back, she said. I followed from a distance. She stepped into a quiet hallway. Everything's fine, she whispered into the phone. He believes the amnesia. My chest tightened. She listened for a moment. No, not yet. I'll leave when the investigation cools down. She ended the call before seeing me around the corner. Back in the car, she acted exhausted. I hate not remembering my own husband. I forced a smile. It's okay. Inside my head, one question refused to leave. Who are you really talking to, Claire? That evening I called the only person I trusted. Marcus Reed answered immediately. Ethan, you sound terrible. I need your help. Tell me what's going on. I can't explain everything. Try. I lowered my voice. I think Claire is pretending. Silence. Then Marcus asked, Do you have proof? Not yet. Then let's find it. For the first time in days, I felt I wasn't fighting alone. As I ended the call, I looked through the apartment window. Claire sat on the couch reading an FBI case file she supposedly couldn't remember. Then another silent thought reached me. Director Pierce covered our tracks perfectly. He'll protect us until Ryan and I disappear. My heart stopped. Claire wasn't working alone. Someone inside the FBI was helping her. Marcus closed the folder and looked at me across his kitchen table. You're telling me FBI files vanished before Claire's accident? I nodded. Not just one file. Several. And nobody noticed? They noticed, I said. Someone made sure the records looked normal. Marcus leaned back. Then we're dealing with someone on the inside. My phone vibrated. Unknown number. I answered carefully. This is Ethan. A calm woman's voice replied. My name is Olivia Hayes. We need to talk, but not over the phone. Who are you? I review federal recovery accounts. And why are you calling me? Because your wife is connected to something much bigger than you think. My heart skipped. When? 1 hour. Georgetown waterfront. The call ended. Marcus frowned. Trap. Maybe. We'll find out together. Olivia arrived wearing a gray coat and carrying no purse. She sat across from us without ordering anything. You brought backup, she said. I don't know if I can trust you. Fair. She slid a flash drive across the table. I found money moving through government recovery accounts. How much? I can't prove the full amount yet. Estimate. She looked directly at me. $81 million. Marcus and I exchanged a glance. Olivia continued. The transfers were hidden behind legitimate recovery programs. Someone altered the digital evidence. Can you identify who? Not yet. But you suspect someone? She nodded. Someone with very high clearance. That evening I picked Claire up after another therapy appointment. She smiled when she saw me. Thanks for coming. Always. Our hands touched as she climbed into the car. A familiar whisper echoed inside my mind. Ryan is getting impatient. I kept my eyes on the road. Claire sighed dramatically. I wish my memories would come back. Another silent thought reached me. Just a little longer. At dinner, Claire's parents asked gentle questions. Do you remember your wedding? Her mother asked. Claire lowered her eyes. I'm trying. Inside my head, I heard something completely different. Stop asking. None of this matters anymore. I nearly dropped my fork. Everyone believed her performance. Only I heard the truth. Later that night, Marcus called. I ran the names from the missing files. And they all passed through one office. Whose? He paused. Deputy Director Daniel Pierce. I felt my stomach tighten. Claire's boss. Exactly. Before I could answer, another thought from Claire reached me from the next room. Daniel covered everything. Nobody will ever connect us. I finally knew who the mole was. Just after midnight, I unlocked my front door. Something felt wrong. Every drawer had been opened. Papers covered the floor. Marcus stepped inside behind me. They searched the whole place. I walked toward the bedroom. A message covered the wall in black paint. Forget what you know, or disappear. I stared at the words without speaking. Whoever was hunting us already knew we were getting close. And they wanted us afraid.
I looked at Marcus across the monitoring screens. Are the cameras live? He nodded. Every entrance, every exit, every room you asked for. Good. He folded his arms. You still haven't told Claire anything. I won't. Why? Because she's convinced I'm already defeated. Marcus studied me for a second before smiling. That's the first smart move you've made since this nightmare started. Later that afternoon, I met Olivia inside a quiet cafe. She placed a tablet in front of me. I traced another wallet. How much? Millions. Can you connect it? Not directly. Yet. She smiled. Yet. She zoomed into several transactions. They're bouncing through offshore exchanges, but they're following the same pattern. The 81 million? I believe so. I leaned closer. What do you need from me? Time. You'll have it. That evening, Claire sat across from me at home. She looked tired. I remembered something today. I raised an eyebrow. What was it? Our first apartment. I smiled softly. Really? She nodded. It was small. I reached across the table and touched her hand. Immediately, her silent thoughts reached me. He believes every word. I squeezed her fingers anyway. I'm glad you're remembering. Inside my head, another thought followed. Just keep acting until Ryan gets the file. The next morning, I watched from my car as Claire entered FBI headquarters. A black SUV pulled beside the building. A man stepped out. Tall. Confident. Expensive suit. Ryan Brooks. He didn't go through the front entrance. He used a private access door. Marcus lowered his binoculars. So that's him. Yeah. He doesn't look nervous. He thinks he's already won. That night, Claire came home late. I'm exhausted. Tough day. She nodded. Therapy after work. Her thoughts answered before her mouth did. Ryan won't wait much longer. I asked quietly. Everything okay? Of course. Another lie. 2 days later, I intentionally started an argument. I can't keep doing this, I said. Claire looked down. I'm trying. No. I slammed my hand onto the table. I've lost my wife. She let tears fill her eyes. I'm sorry. Inside my head I heard laughter. Perfect. Keep pushing him toward divorce. I walked away before she could see my expression. The fight wasn't real. It was exactly what I wanted her to believe. A week later, I placed divorce papers on the kitchen counter. Claire stared at them. You really want this? I don't know what else to do. She slowly picked up the pen. I'm sorry, Ethan. She signed without hesitation. Her thoughts were colder than her voice. One more problem solved. I signed beside her. Neither of us mentioned the tiny camera hidden inside the bookshelf. Marcus reviewed the footage that night. Clear audio. Good. Olivia looked at another screen. The wallet moved again. When? 10 minutes after Claire signed. So, they think they're safe. Marcus smiled. They're walking exactly where you want them. The following evening we met for what Claire believed would be our final dinner together. She lifted her glass. I hope one day you forgive me. I hope you find what you're looking for. Inside my mind I heard her true thoughts. You'll never know how badly I fooled you. I smiled anyway, because every word, every meeting, every signature, every transfer, every lie was already being recorded. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I wasn't reacting to Claire's game. I was controlling it. Marcus dropped into the chair across from me, his shoulder wrapped in fresh bandages. You should be dead, I said. He forced a grin. I got lucky. Lucky isn't good enough anymore. He became serious. They knew exactly where I'd be. I clenched my fists. Daniel is cleaning up every loose end. Marcus nodded, which means we're running out of time. Later that afternoon, Olivia met me inside an underground parking garage. She handed me a small envelope. The leak worked. What happened? The Bureau quietly opened an internal investigation. They're keeping it secret? They don't know who to trust. I looked through the documents. They found the missing transfers? Only part of them. That's enough to make them nervous. Olivia lowered her voice. Claire and Ryan are moving faster. How fast? They've arranged a yacht. When? Soon. That evening I found Claire packing a travel bag. Going somewhere? She smiled. Just in case my memories come back and I need some space. I stepped closer. Our hands brushed. Immediately her thoughts reached me. Ryan says we leave Friday. I kept my face calm. Take whatever time you need. She nodded. Thank you. Inside my mind another thought followed. Just one more file. Marcus noticed my expression after Claire walked away. What did you figure out? I looked at him for several seconds. You'll think I'm crazy. I've seen crazier. I took a slow breath. When I get close to Claire, he waited. I hear her thoughts. Marcus frowned. What? I know how impossible that sounds, Ethan. I predicted every meeting. You could have guessed. I knew about Ryan before anyone saw him. Marcus stayed silent. I knew Daniel was involved before Olivia confirmed it. He leaned back. How? I don't know. He studied me for a long moment. Then my phone buzzed. Without looking, I said, Olivia. Marcus raised an eyebrow. I answered. Olivia spoke quickly. Ryan changed the departure time. I know. Marcus stared. How did you know that? I slowly smiled. I'm done questioning it. The next morning Marcus spread a blueprint across the table. You still want to use the warehouse? Yes. It's covered with surveillance. Exactly. What if they don't come? They will. How can you be sure? Because Claire thinks she's smarter than everyone. Olivia joined us carrying another folder. I created the false intelligence package. Marcus looked at me. This is the bait? I nodded. It says the last encryption key is stored in Warehouse 12. Olivia smiled. And every copy leads back to Daniel. Marcus laughed quietly. They'll never resist. That night Claire received an encrypted message. I watched without speaking. She looked relieved. Then I touched her shoulder. The key is finally waiting for us. She turned toward me. I'm heading to bed. Sleep well. She smiled. I will. The following afternoon, Ryan arrived at the abandoned dock. Claire embraced him. From a distance, I watched through binoculars. Marcus whispered. They're together. Exactly where we expected. Ryan opened a map. Claire nodded. Their body language changed. Marcus frowned. They're arguing. They're fighting over the money. Ryan pointed toward the harbor. Claire shook her head. Greed had finally begun pulling them apart. Hours later, Daniel entered the meeting. He looked confident. Marcus whispered, "He thinks every witness is gone." I nodded. He has no idea. We watched the three conspirators leave together, straight toward Warehouse 12. Marcus looked at me. "This ends tonight." I followed their headlights, disappearing into the darkness. "No," I said quietly. "It begins." The warehouse felt silent as I stepped inside. Marcus spoke through my earpiece. "All cameras are recording." I answered quietly. "Understood." I moved behind a stack of shipping crates. Minutes later, the main door opened. Ryan entered first. Claire followed. Daniel came last. Ryan looked around. "So, where's the key?" Daniel folded his arms. "It'll arrive." Ryan laughed. "You've been saying that for weeks." Claire crossed her arms. "Stop arguing." Ryan glared at her. "I'm done waiting." Daniel's voice turned cold. "Careful." Ryan stepped closer. "You already have your share." Daniel smiled. "I earned it." Ryan slammed a metal case onto the table. "I earned it." Claire sighed. "Both of you enough." Ryan opened the case. Bundles of documents surrounded a small encrypted drive. He picked it up. $81 million. Daniel reached for it. Ryan pulled it away. "You don't touch this." Daniel's face hardened. "We agreed." Ryan shook his head. "No." Claire suddenly laughed. "You two are unbelievable." Daniel looked at her. "What?" She smiled without warmth. "I lied to my husband." Ryan grinned. "You fooled everyone." Claire shrugged. "Faking amnesia was easier than I expected." Ryan laughed loudly. "He actually believed you forgot him." Claire nodded. "He never questioned me." Her words hit harder than I expected. Even though I already knew the truth, hearing her admit it still hurt. Marcus whispered through my earpiece. "We've got everything." I answered. "Wait." Ryan held up the drive. "We split the money now." Daniel stepped forward. "The money belongs to me." Claire snapped. "It belongs to all of us." Ryan shook his head. "No." He backed away. "I'm leaving." Daniel reached inside his jacket. "You aren't going anywhere." Claire stared at him. "What are you doing?" "I don't leave witnesses." Ryan cursed. "You plan to kill us?" Daniel didn't answer. He simply raised his weapon. Claire stepped backward. "You promise." Daniel's expression stayed empty. "I promised whatever kept you useful." Marcus spoke into my ear. "That's enough." I nodded. "Do it." A loud alarm echoed across the warehouse. Bright floodlights exploded to life. Voices filled the building. "FBI, drop your weapons." Daniel spun around. Ryan ran toward the rear exit. Claire froze. Armed agents poured through every entrance. Daniel threw down his pistol. Ryan kept running. An agent tackled him before he reached the door. The encrypted drive slid across the floor. Another team secured it immediately. Claire slowly turned toward me. "You." I walked into the open. "It's over." Her face lost all color. "You knew." I didn't answer. She searched my eyes desperately. "How?" Silence. "Ethan." I smiled faintly. "You should have told me the truth." Tears filled her eyes. "When did you figure it out?" I looked at the cameras above us. "Long before tonight." She shook her head. "No. I gave you every chance." She couldn't finish. Agents placed handcuffs around Daniel. Ryan shouted from across the room. "This is your fault." Claire ignored him. She kept looking at me. "I never wanted to hurt you." For a brief moment, I touched her wrist. One final thought reached me. I should have loved Ethan instead. The words carried no lies. Only regret. Real. Heavy. Too late. The connection disappeared as agents led her away. She looked back once. I didn't. Marcus stopped beside me. "You okay?" I watched the evidence teams collecting every document, every recording and every secret that had destroyed my life. Then I took one slow breath. Now I am. The warehouse doors closed behind the last police vehicle. The lies ended there. So did our marriage. 6 months changed everything. The headlines filled every screen. Corruption inside the bureau. Recovered government funds. Multiple convictions. I turned the television off before another reporter could say Claire's name. A knock came at my door. Marcus walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You still hate mornings?" he asked. "I tolerate them now." He handed me a cup. "That's progress." I laughed. "I guess it is." Marcus looked healthier than he had in months. The scars remained, but the pain no longer controlled him. "You saved my life," he said. "We saved each other." He smiled. "I'll take that." Later that afternoon, I visited Olivia's office. She stood beside a window overlooking the city. "Congratulations," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "For what?" "The promotion." She smiled modestly. I almost turned it down. "Why?" "I don't enjoy attention." "You earned it." She sighed. "I only followed the numbers." "The numbers changed lives." She nodded quietly. "I suppose they did." A week later, another envelope arrived. The return address came from the federal prison. I didn't need to read the name. I already knew. Claire. I carried the letter outside. Marcus watched from the porch. "You going to open it?" "No." "Not even once?" I shook my head. I already heard everything that mattered. I dropped the envelope into a small fire pit. The paper curled. The flames consumed every word before my eyes could. Marcus looked at me. "Any regrets?" I watched the ashes drift into the wind. "Not anymore." Months passed. Life became quieter. The strange whispers inside my mind grew weaker. One afternoon, I accidentally brushed a stranger's hand at a grocery store. Nothing happened. No voice. No thoughts. Only silence. I smiled to myself. Whatever strange gift had entered my life was leaving. It had arrived when I needed the truth. Now I no longer needed it. Dr. Emily Foster called one evening. "I wanted to see how you're doing." "I'm better." "I've thought about Claire's case many times." "You weren't responsible." "I treated the injury." "You treated it honestly." She sounded relieved. "Thank you." "No," I replied. "Thank you for never lying to me." News eventually confirmed the final sentences. Ryan Brooks received years in federal prison for fraud, conspiracy, and theft. Daniel Pierce lost everything. His badge, his career, his freedom. Most of the stolen money had been recovered. The innocent agents whose reputations had been destroyed were finally cleared. Justice had taken time, but it had arrived. One morning I drove to a quiet beach along the Virginia coast. The sunrise painted the ocean with soft shades of gold. I removed my shoes and walked across the cool sand. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying questions. Why did she betray me? Why wasn't I enough? Why didn't I see it sooner? Those questions no longer mattered. The waves answered with steady silence. I closed my eyes. I remembered the frightened man who had stood in a hospital room begging his wife to recognize him. I barely recognized him now. Pain had changed me. Truth had rebuilt me. Forgiveness hadn't meant excusing betrayal. It had meant refusing to let betrayal define the rest of my life. I smiled without forcing it. The wind carried away the last weight I had been holding. I whispered to myself, "You made it." No voice answered inside my head, only the sound of the ocean. And somehow, that silence felt like freedom. I turned away from the water and walked toward the future. Not as the man who had been betrayed. Not as the husband who had been deceived. Simply as myself. Strong. Free. Finally whole. For the first time since everything began, I wasn't searching for the truth about Claire. I had found something far more valuable. I had finally remembered my own worth